how you felt about doing the upper grade, 6th grade.
Honestly, doing the upper grades is what I really wanted to teach. That's how I kind of really started falling in love with teaching, was when I observed for a 5th grade teacher, and I loved the curriculum. I loved every part of it. They're bigger little kids in a way. Yes, they're taller, but they're still sweet, and you kind of almost can joke around a little bit more.
Oh, for sure.
Sarcastic, because I feel like if you do that with the primary grades, like first, second, third, or even kindergarten, they take you very literal.
Yes, everything is you're saying it for fact. And I was just thinking, I think we're switching because for student teaching, I had 6th grade and I believe you had 3rd.
Yeah.
And now in the fall, you're going to be teaching 6th grade and I'm teaching 3rd grade. So we did a little swap.
Woo. Also, I would like to comment, I know you can't hear this on the podcast, but if you're watching the video, we are kind of matching with our colors today. I think we're on a great color scheme.
I feel like we've done this for the past, slightly matching, which I'm really excited because when I talk about my book, I'm actually going to be talking about this shirt.
Okay.
I was telling Jocelyn a little bit earlier, I was like, I also wanted to give a shout out. I know you guys can't see, but I'm wearing my brand new earrings that were sold to me by, so in our cohort, Jocelyn and I were together, but I was also part of the bilingual cohort. And in that group was this really great classmate. Her name's Ariandi. She just started her own small business with jewelry. It's called Mija Linda. And whenever this podcast goes live, I will make sure to add her Instagram and the website to the notes. But I just figured supporting another small business. She's great. She's a future teacher. She's teaching 3rd grade as well. I just found out. I was like, I'm going to feel like an ad today because I'm also going to talk about my shirt. But that's once it comes to the book, which I am so excited about this week's episode. I don't know how you feel, but I'm super excited.
No, me too, because I feel like, okay, when it comes to us picking books, we tend to really love every single book we've had. I think there's only been a couple that we're like, no, this is not the kind of message we're going for. It just, I know my students wouldn't like it.
Mm-hmm.
And there's nothing wrong with that, but it's when we kind of have to pick a favorite, I really had to sit down and be like, okay, what is a current favorite? And I try to take a lot of things into consideration. So I think this was a really fun episode to pick a book.
Yeah, and I think it's just hard because you're saying, there's so many books that we love. And at first when we came up with this idea of our fave, or our current fave, not I was just like, well, how am I going to pick? How do I narrow it down to one book? So I'm excited for future episodes because I was like, okay, we're going to do more episodes like this. I'm going to be able to pick more. But I am so excited for, both of ours. Honestly, I love your book as well. I was going to say, do we have any other news to catch up on?
No, I think that I feel like we've caught up on everything. We're kind of recording some of these ahead of the time that they're releasing. So this is kind of our 3rd one. We're getting closer to the release date of our 1st one. Yeah. So I think that I'm kind of nervous but excited at the same time.
I'm nervous too because I don't know how, I'm really excited, and I feel like we've been having this built up, and we obviously haven't really been sharing it with others. And even next week, by the time it's next week, it'll be launch week.
Yes.
Our episode won't have gone up yet, but it'll be launch week because we film these on Mondays and we're hoping to release them on Wednesdays.
Yes.
But it just feels so much closer now.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel our biggest news was just sharing our grade levels. Do you have a date when you're going to start school?
We start August 11th. So that's technically, but it just depends on the school site that I'm at. Because I think it's they're all doing weird distant learning schedules. Mm-hmm. So I think right now we're only going to be on for 2 days and then 1 day off and then another 2 days. Okay. So we're just going to kind of see and play it by ear. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Everyone's kind of shocked when I tell them I don't start until August 24th. That's the official start date.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Everyone's like, what? You still have so much time. So I think that's why everyone's prepping and I'm just sitting here in this la la land. But I have trainings coming up soon, which I'm excited about. But I'm happy that we've been able to film a few episodes beforehand just because I'm not sure how things are going to be once it comes time. And it's kind of nice because now I have your books and my books and books that I want to share with my students. So it's going to be really exciting once we're able to share them with our kids. Yeah. And it might be nice to I I was just thinking, oh man, this might be off topic, but it'd be nice to like do the books and then share like how it went with our students in future episodes.
Yeah, I think that would be really nice to do. I think that my students would listen to it.
Yeah, can you? Okay. Do you want to start off with our current favorites?
Oh yeah, before we get like too off topic.
Yes. I'm just
so
excited.
I know. I could sit here and talk all day in this podcast. I love it. So I guess current favorites. Very hard to pick. There's quite a few that I love. I also love the one that Alejandra is gonna present. That is her current favorite. She bought it for me as a gift, and when I read it,
this is our struggle. Sorry, well, we're just like we love all the books.
Yeah, it is very much a struggle. Like I was reading the book, and I was like, this is a very like heartwarming like children's book. Like just so lovable. So to bring it all back, my current favorite book is called Planting Stories, The Life of Librarian and Storyteller Pura Bellepre. I think that's how you pronounce that. Alejandra has it in the Spanish version, which is just as, like, it's so cute. It's a winner of the Pura Bellepre honor book. It's got a little honor book thing. And first of all, one thing I would just like to point out about this book, I know you can't see it on the podcast, but if you're watching the video, the illustrations on this book are just to die for.
They're beautiful.
Yes. It was illustrated by Paula Escobar. And just look at this. Look at this.
They're just beautiful.
Cute little, like,
we're not going to do a very good job of describing it. I'm sorry, but like, I would love to see this almost out as like a movie, or even like whoever is illustrating this is, like, you are doing an amazing job.
No, exactly. So this book is just to die for. I could look at the pictures all day. I wish I could draw like this. But before we get started on that, there's several reasons why I really, really love this book. First of all, there's an incorporation of Spanish words. So if you don't have the fully Spanish version, there is, in the English version, you get a couple words. Like you get something like cuentos floróricos. So you get those kind of words, abuela. There's other things like y una vida nueva para pura. I said that really wrong. Spanish getting a little rusty there.
And I really like the idea of it, because sometimes, I mean, as an English speaker, like I can switch between Spanish, and I think it's kind of nice to see it in the books, and it might make some students like feel okay about it as well.
Yeah, and it's like your students may not, because I mean, a lot of your students, some of your students, not a lot, but a majority, or maybe a little, or maybe all of your students maybe don't know another language. And so this is a really good way to start incorporating other cultures into your classroom, as well as the language that comes with it. And it's done correctly. Like the Spanish that is used in this book is like more as a way to like enhance the culture and the story behind it.
Yeah, I was gonna say you could even use it as like having them figure out what the word might even be, using the context around the word. And that could help with meaning. Yeah, so it's just so many ideas that kind of just start coming off this book. What I love about the story, just a little synopsis of it. Pura comes to America, and she lives in New York. I'm sure of it. Yeah, she comes to New York, and she becomes a librarian. And so it's like this beautiful story of how she like, how the libraries plant these like these story seeds. And I never really knew this was a thing until someone was telling me this whole storyteller kind of like thing, where like there's in cultures, like there's people who tell beautiful stories, and it's kind of something that is very valued. And so to read about her is awesome. And then she talks about like all the seeds that she planted, and she like did so much for a library, which, I mean, come on, we're book lovers. Yes.
This is a dream. And how she basically like came here and was successful. She worked really hard, and it's just, I just love this book so much. But what I also love about it is that you can talk. There's like an author's note in the back. And it tells you a little bit more about who she is. And then there's like further reading. So if your students are or become very curious about who she was, it gives you resources that you can include, which would be like another really good resource And
Yeah,
then
I love
other
that they have a
stories.
bibliography too. As like it's kind of nice because you don't always
Yeah.
think about introducing it to the younger grades, especially.
Yeah.
But it's nice to like see it in a almost friendly type of way.
Yeah, and then they also have some of the stories she used to tell, like back here. So that's
Hmm.
really cool because then you can really explain to students what storytellers are and what how some cultures like really value storytellers. So just an all around really good book, and um, just like I said, I can't. It's just super, and it's like written by people from the culture. So like
Hmm.
Anika, Al, um, who wrote it. It was Anika Al. I am so sorry if I pronounced this wrong, but Al Damui Denise, and she's from. She loved learning about Puerto Rico and all this stuff, and so she lives with her husband and three daughters. I'm reading a little biography in the back, which is awesome. And then Paola Escobar, she grew up traveling from town to town in Colombia, so she
Oh,
has that Latin Spanish background culture engraved in her, which leads to
oh,
why
she
the
lives
artwork,
there.
yeah, why this artwork is just so pretty, but
Hmm.
also kind of has a little bit of the Spanish culture kind of coming out of this, or Spanish speaking culture. Yeah.
Yeah, I like. I know we're not supposed to judge books by like their cover and their artwork, but I'm blown away by this artwork. So, after you finish listening to our podcast, please go get this book and look at the images because they are
Yeah.
beautiful.
So definitely one of my favorites, definitely one that I recommend reading. It really just has this great message and value of the knowledge and story and the like power that stories can really plant in someone's mind and the world. So
Yeah,
yeah.
I just think there's so many fun activities you can do. I was looking at the back as you were talking about
Yeah.
this and how like they had listed some of the stories that are mentioned and it'd be so like for especially for the older grades, like almost assigning a different story to each like group or something and then having
Yeah.
them research it and just learning about it. I think this book is awesome and I'm really glad that you picked it because if not, I definitely would have picked it at some
Yeah.
point.
Thank you. Thank you. Now I'm excited for yours.
I'm so like okay, I don't even know where to start. Like I am just so excited. I'm gonna say the name of the book first, and then I definitely want to talk about the author. I'm in love with the author of this book. I like have a huge girl crush on her. So the book is called Kamala and Maya's Big Idea, and it's by Mina Harris, and it's illustrated by Ana Ramirez Gonzalez. Okay, I wrote a little blurb about the author in our notes, so I have to read it because I don't want to mess it up. So, Mina Harris is the founder and CEO of Phenomenal, which is a female powered lifestyle brand that brings awareness to social causes. And she recently became a best selling author for Kamala and Maya's Big Idea. And that's what I was kind of talking about my shirt earlier. So, as everyone knows, there has been um, I think this amazing movement going on where people are just they're speaking up about things that they believe in, and I completely respect it.
Mhm.
Um, I don't know how I ended up finding it, but I found this brand called Phenomenal, and they have actually I think I found it because they have a shirt that's called I think like Phenomenal Latina, which
Mhm.
they released to kind of bring awareness to like equal pay day, I believe, because
Okay.
obviously women are paid less, especially women who are Latinas. And then a lot of celebrities were wearing it, and I saw it, and like I looked at it, and I never took the plunge of buying it.
Uh-huh.
And then once this all started kind of going on, I looked more into the brand. And they have so many different shirts. Like they have a Black Lives Matter shirt.
Ooh.
They have the one that I'm wearing that says Phenomenal Teacher, which
Yeah.
I am obsessed with. They just have so many different shirts, and a lot of them go towards really good causes.
Okay.
So I feel better about like buying things that are supporting a good cause. But I just love Mina Harris. She is like really outspoken but I feel like in a way where she's so passionate about what she stands up for and she does it so well.
Mhm.
I don't know what else. Like, I just love her. She's amazing. I actually reached out to her because I told her that I wanted to feature her book as my favorite book on our podcast, and she replied back. And I just think like doing something like so simple as like replying back to somebody who at that point, like our podcast still had like very few followers, if any, at that point. So just for her to like take the time to just send a message was, I think, amazing. So I'm gonna get started a little bit about the book, which is called Kamala and Maya's Big Idea, which Mina Harris is actually the niece of Kamala Harris, who was a president. She was running to be president, obviously Kamala Harris. So the book is about her aunt Kamala and her mom Maya, who are sisters. And I don't know, like I love this book because they're from here, they're from the Bay Area. Obviously, Kamala Harris is a California state senator. Jocelyn and I are located in California. This book is just, I don't know, it hits so close to home.
And it's got this great sense of community built throughout the book.
Yeah. So I guess a little summary is Kamala and Maya are these two young girls. I don't want to say like see a problem in their neighborhood, but they see like how something could be made better, and they get this
potential.
idea. Yes, they see potential. I like that word. On how to make their neighborhood better. So they kind of are told like, okay, like if you have this idea, let's do something about it. They kind of get turned down at first. And I love the fact that like maybe a kid would have given up right then and there. Like, all right, a grown-up told me no, let me just stop. But they don't. They're like, we're going to keep trying. So they kind of keep trying. And I think like the moral of the story was like not giving up when you're told no, but like finding a way to reach your goal.
Yeah.
And like no dream is too big. And I liked the idea. I was going through it, and then it was just one of the sentences is no one could do everything, but everyone could contribute something. As in, sometimes problems can seem so big to us and you think you alone you can't do it, but reaching out to others and like, I don't know, like for example, this movement, sometimes like you might think that you can't do something by yourself, but I think if you get enough people that care and want to make a change, then we can definitely do it, because I think together we are so much stronger. And I think that's a big thing I'd want to teach my students, that if you see something wrong, then let's stand together and fight for what we believe is right. And I think I was just like going through this, and I would love to do, I don't know, like a class project where what's something that we want to fix and how can we fix it? Because I'm sure people might tell us no along the way, and we're going to figure it out. I don't know, like I just think realistically, I wouldn't have ever thought I'd be sitting here with my master's, and here I am sitting with my master's. Or like, who would have thought we'd be making a podcast, you know? Like, you just never know. Like, I always like loved books, but then I reached out to Jocelyn. We were just like, yeah, like let's do that. Like together you can make things happen. And that's what I love about this book. Just the idea that you can work together and make things happen. And then Mina was on a podcast I was listening to where she talked about this book. And I think a big thing too is like sometimes when we see characters in books who are like characters of color, they're always having to like, I guess like a stereotype, for example, would be if you see an Asian character in a book, they're celebrating like Chinese New Year. Or if you see a Latino student in a Latino character, it's for Cesar Chavez. Or if you see a Black kid in the book, it's for Martin Luther King. But these kids are just living. And I think Mina was kind of saying how she wrote this book because she has daughters. And she wants her daughters to see kids that look like her just kind of living everyday life, you know, like making it normal.
And that's what we're trying to do. That's why that's the heart of our podcast, I feel like, is showing the world these awesome books that could be used, and for kids to actually see themselves in books I think is so crucial, especially in our education now. So
I don't know, I found it really great that, you know, this mom saw a problem and she's like, okay, I'm going to go and make a book for my daughter so that they can see themselves. And now so many little girls are going to be able to see characters that look just like them doing these inspiring things. So I really loved it. And I loved the fact that like in it, they just like had children who, I'm showing the video, but like I really liked the scene where it's like you can see little boys and girls playing together, and they you know, one's lighter skin, one has red hair, one has darker hair. And just the fact that, for example, in the food, they talk about hot dogs and hummus. Like growing up, I didn't know what hummus was. And like, I'm sure some kid was eating hummus as a little kid, and like, how cool would it be? Like, oh, like I eat that, you know?
Yeah. It
So
seems like real, actual life.
yeah. And I think that's, like you were saying, that's why we're doing this podcast. We want kids to see themselves in these books.
Yeah.
So, oh, and I forgot to talk about the author. So the illustrator, she actually worked on the film Coco, which so many people love. So her illustrations are just, I think, beautiful as well. Coco is one of my favorite stories, and just to like, I don't know, the illustrations always get me. So whenever I'm looking at books, I know we're not supposed to judge, but like I just love looking at the pictures, and I think these are so beautiful. And I also look towards the back of the book. I love that Mina Harris included pictures of like her mom and her aunt, and just kind of like a story around it. I think it makes it a lot more, I don't know, personal, and like I really like seeing it. But yes, this was me preaching about Harris and her book. I love her. I love her brand, and I'm so happy that she came out with this book.
Yeah, and I'm probably gonna buy that shirt now because I love it and I love what that company stands for. And like, didn't I just say at the beginning how heartwarming that book is? Like, it really is like a very like heartwarming book where it just teaches kids about like persevering. And I know that even with my third graders, we had a word, and it was like the word of the unit was perseverance. And so this is like a really good book to get them excited for something, to get them thinking more that this is a community that we're all a part of, and if we all just pitch in and do something, even if it's something small, the amount of change that could happen is just incredible.
So I definitely recommend reading. I think that's the hard part about this podcast too, is like I just want to tell you what happens in the book,
but we can't.
Because I want you to go out and read this book. I truly do. And another good thing is Mina Harris was like telling or kind of promoting the idea of buying her book from like local bookstores. I ordered mine from a bookstore in San Francisco, and I don't know, like especially now when bookstores are really, you know, I'm sure struggling with everything online and with the whole pandemic. I think supporting a local bookstore and finding these books would be an amazing idea.
Yeah, love all of that. Is that her only book?
That's her only book, and I'm like, can you write more book? Like,
it could be like a whole adventures kind of like thing, where it's like adventures of all of them and just like their lives, because it's really relatable to kids. So
yeah, hopefully, maybe if she listens to us, Mina, can you write another book?
We would love some more books if you have time.
I don't know. Sorry. I was like, I feel like I was super passionate. I'm just so excited about this book, and I don't know, this book just makes me want to go out into the world and try to motivate everybody to be kind.
No, seriously, when I got that book in the mail, I read it, and like the first thing I was like, literally every page, I was like, oh my God, it's so cute. Oh, I love this. I love what it's saying. Like, even my roommates were kind of like, what the heck are you reading? I'm like, it's this just adorable book and the message behind it. And so, I definitely see why that would be one of your favorites. It'd be one of my current favorites if you hadn't already picked it.
And just like how we were saying, like we both looked into who the authors were. And I think it's so important to make sure that the stories that we share are super authentic. And I feel like both of the stories that we picked, I mean, like you can tell that both of the authors really, really cared about the stories they were writing.
Yes. So that I feel like is all for this week. Those were our current faves.
Yes.
And there's going to be more of those because trust me, we pretty much love every single book that we have. And
I
we have
know.
there's literally boxes, because I haven't been allowed into my classroom yet, but there is boxes sitting at my home of just children's books, and it's like books that people have given me, books that I've collected. And I tend to be like very picky about my books too, because again, we did our master's project and the like utilizing diverse books, and so I like have like I think it's like a very unique collection of books that anybody can read. So there's definitely a lot of more favorites coming.
Yeah, I'm like so excited. Now that you're saying, I'm like, man, now I kind of want to go look into Jocelyn's collection and see
Ooh,
what she
yes.
has.
Oh,
That'd
I
be
have this.
cool. We
Yeah, I
could
have this
like trade
very.
books one day, like
Ooh.
a future episode. Sorry, my like brain, like I have to say it or else I'll forget. Maybe like a
No,
future
no, I love
episode.
it. Yeah, no. And by the way, we should be having a post of topics that you want to see covered in the book, or maybe like again, once you start reading these and they're like, oh, I have a perfect book recommendation,
Yes.
recommend it to us, please. We would love to add to our unique collections of
Oh,
books.
yeah, it'll give me kind of another reason because I feel so guilt. Like I spend all my money buying books, which fun fact, I work another job besides teaching right now. And I like to joke that it helps pay for my teaching job because I just have so many books I want to buy. So if you
Yeah.
guys recommend books, I'll feel less guilty about wanting to buy these books.
No, exactly. And then like all the gift cards, all the Amazon gift cards that I got from students last year, I literally have spent every single one of them on books. I was like, I want to have an awesome collection and an awesome library.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I need to get a book stamp. I think like that's the next. I've seen like book
Yes.
stamps where it says your name and it's like belongs to, read it,
When
love
I
it,
got
return
my
it.
first
Yeah.
one, I like went crazy and I was just stamping everything. Like I was even stamping things that weren't, I was just so excited. Like
Yeah.
highly recommend it. We're gonna have to talk
Yes.
about this book stamp off
Yeah.
episode, but yes.
Yeah, because we're going to go
one.
on a tangent about it. But yes, just to kind of give you a little preview of what's coming up next week, we are kind of starting to dive a little bit more into a little bit of what our master's project touched up on. And with everything that's been going on, we thought that this would be a really good topic to kind of start diving into. And it's the beginning of conversations around race in a classroom. It doesn't even have to be in a classroom. A parent can utilize the books that we're really thinking about. And this is a very powerful one because I feel like the conversations of race is not one that you only do like once a month. And we'll explain next podcast how we think it's like a constant kind of like building up conversation that should be happening so that kids and students really understand what is going on. And so this is our kind of like beginning of race conversations.
Yeah. And I think the big thing is you can have these conversations with kids.
Yeah.
That's what that's gonna be my ending point right there.
Yes. You
also
can
dive into it.
Yeah, no, exactly. So before we start giving away any more, please make sure that you follow us on Instagram, which is _bookbo. And then you can also find us on Apple Podcasts now, Spotify, and what else?
I think.
And subscribe. Subscribe to us.
Yeah, subscribe to us.
We're also important one.
We're also recording these and posting them on YouTube just because they are books. So I think sometimes it'd be nice if you guys want to see the visual. Of course, we're gonna post the images as well on our Instagram page.
Yes.
But another idea I got is if you're listening to us, you should definitely like screenshot it and send it to us.
Ooh,
it'd be so exciting. Or like screenshot or like take a picture of like where you are while you're listening to our
share it with people, share it with us. We want to share your pictures.
So I think that'd be really fun because I want this to almost be like a conversation with our listeners. And I don't know, I think that would be really exciting.
Yep. Okay, that's it for now. I guess we will see you all in the next episode.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.